17 days to the 2024 general polls. Hashtag Stop Galamsey now still on. Good evening and welcome to Newsnight. Tonight, the Ghana Police Service switches gears from being tight-lipped and unwelcoming to more welcoming and transparent in its engagement with the media and the public before and during the 2024 general elections. We have details as the hierarchy of the police engages senior managers of all media houses in the country on plans to deliver the best elections.
Please, if you hear something, put your patriotic, nationalistic hat on first. Let us be very sure before we put it out there. That will save a lot of lives.
Meanwhile, there's a strong caution to all those planning to cause chaos during the polls.
Life will become very uncomfortable for them, so they shouldn't even try. Because at the end of the day, when you do anything and de-escalation fails and engagement fails, when we come and we'll come with the full force of the law in a manner that dignifies us as a people, please don't complain.
I'll take you live to the police headquarters also tonight.
Nobody. We will vote in peace. We will cast our ballot in peace. Ghana will be united. Ghana will not fall. And I'm telling you, the new patriotic party shall emerge victorious.
And the governing NPP is tonight dismissing opposition NDC's claims of plots to rig the 2024 elections. While describing the claims as baseless, the NPP also makes its own allegations against its opponents as it also prepares to petition the IGP.
Yes, tomorrow, for instance, I know that we have a meeting with the IGP. Myself, I'll be present. We'll be about 3 eminent persons from the party representing, and then we'll be putting this before the IGP.
And as the allegations and counter-allegations of plots to rig the upcoming polls ensues, the Electoral Commission says the systems in place will make it impossible to rig it.
So if even you are, let's put the MPP flag bearer, the NDC flag bearer, let's make them the chairperson, co-chairpersons of the Electoral Commission. There is nothing you can do.
And in business, President Akufo-Addo optimistic about inflation slowing down further in the coming months.
There's every indication that the downward trend in the rate of inflation will continue, evidenced in the reducing prices of foodstuffs and petroleum products.
And later in the news, we have more on the tallest building as Bank of Ghana inaugurates its $250 million tower, defending the project as value for money investments.
The management of the bank has ensured that the value for money assessment of this project can boast of a lower cost per square meter than comparable projects in Accra. Therefore, after today's commissioning, our official address for the Bank of Ghana head office will change to the Bank Square.
And in sports, Ghana forward Abdul Fattah Issahaku set to be sidelined for the rest of the 2023-24 season after undergoing surgery for a knee injury he suffered against Angola.
And then much later, I'll take you back to the newly commissioned Flower Port Interchange. The traffic situation may have improved, but opinions are divided on how hawkers should be handled.
You saw me also talking to the police. In as much as they are preventing crime, they also make sure that nobody comes around this area to come and do any hawking or any kind of stuff.
We have details as the Greater Accra Regional Minister destroys tables of traders. Plus, I'll take you live to check on the promise to dispatch mobile maintenance teams to fix the Tema Dawinya Road. We are live on the ground. That and more in tonight's edition of Newsnight. You want to join us with your thoughts, your comments is via WhatsApp is 055-1111-997. I am MFA Apau. Details shortly. And we start off from the police headquarters tonight, and the Ghana Police Service is shifting gears with just days to the 2024 general election, adopting a more transparent and proactive approach in its engagement with the media and the public. Traditionally, we know that it's been tight-lipped over the period. The police's limited communication with stakeholders has drawn some criticism over the period. However, with some 17 days to the December polls, the police now pledges to increase transparency, enhance public engagement, and provide timely information. At a critical meeting with media heads, the Inspector General of Police, Dr. George Akufo-Addo, outlined fresh strategies, including the establishment of a 24-hour centralized press briefing center to keep the public informed. Listen to him.
That we put in place to work with you this time, a little different from what you have been experiencing in the past. And when we're able to work together on this line, we can assure you, you yourself will have more confidence to go out there and do your job. You have more confidence to operate from the facilities that you work with. And you have more confidence to close from work and go to home safely without thinking of any harm being done to you. But I have one plea, and the plea is that you are such a powerful force in our democratic dispensation. One thing that is of concern to all of us is information, and the concern becomes very negative when it is misinformation and disinformation. We should make sure that we work together so that during this elections period, misinformation, more information, and disinformation will have no role in this. It is for that reason that we are setting up National Election Security Task Force Press Briefing Center, a tent, air conditioning with a capacity to take on the average of 100 reporters. You can come, we'll serve you with coffee, we'll serve you with tea, and of course biscuit. And relax, and you can be with us 24/7, and we will be sharing the information with the speed of light. The people who will be speaking on these matters will be speaking in 7 languages, so that we'll be able to reach everybody, for everybody to get an understanding. So what is the plea that we want from you as you help us to fight misinformation? Please, if you hear something, put your patriotic, nationalistic hat on first, so that you assess it to say, if it's the truth, and I put it out there, no problem. But if I'm not sure of it and it's a hearsay, please, let's be a little patient. Check with us, check with any other institution or stakeholder who has better and further particulars on it, so that let us be very sure before we put it out there. That will save a lot of lives, and it will create an avenue for people to make sure that they will not put any information that are not true out there, thinking that the media will carry it because this is what has come out, and by the time that the true facts come out, then the thing turn out to be something. But if the people get to know that the information going to go out there, even if the media hears it, they will make sure that they will not rush into it. They will dot some I's and cross some T's to be very sure to a reasonable extent before putting it out there. Those people will be very careful trying to shape around misinformation and disinformation.
That's the IGP, Dr. George Akufo-Addo there. At the opening of that meeting, my colleague Michael Ashali was privileged to be part of that meeting, at least the first session, joins me in studio. Let's talk a bit more about this particular meeting. Michael.
Well, if like you already said, this is a two-part meeting. The first, which is open to the public and open to the rest of the media houses to cover with their cameras. And the second session, which is currently underway, where they will meet the top hierarchy of all the media institutions in the country in a closed-door meeting. What he lets us understand is that he's going to let them in on the plan of the police to protect the media themselves, which has been the top burning issues from some of the media individuals, and again how their deployment is going to be like. So I'm pretty sure that Evans will have more details on that. So these are the details that he tells us, but there are more to what he tells us that the police is also planning to do in the coming days, apart from just setting up a dedicated press center where they'll be engaging the media and the public 24/7. He also tells us that they are engaging with the telecommunication companies to set up a dedicated phone line aside the emergency numbers that they have. And he says that this is a promise that if you call some of these numbers, you are more likely to be talking to the IGP or members of the management of the police, POMA. You know, these are the highest ranking individuals in the Ghana Police Service who will be dealing directly with the public and also making sure that they do timely deployment. Again, he also says that there's going to be active engagement with the political parties. So if there's an issue all the way in Elembele, for instance, and you put a phone call through to this, they're likely to call the national organizers of these individuals and make sure that they are dealing with the issue at the national level. That will trickle down to the constituency so that it doesn't escalate. These are some of the promises that he's made in this meeting to the media institution owners and editors as well this evening.
Well, he's also been cautioning those who are thinking about fomenting trouble during this particular period.
Well, just as you read in the headline, we've seen some allegations and counter allegations that are coming up. He says that those ones do not matter to him as it stands now. What he cares more about is that if all fails, and he's mentioned a plan that is going to be engaging your political parties, your agents, and everybody that is in a dispute. If all fails, they will not spare the whip. They will definitely be cracking it and make sure that all of these people are arrested or dealt with according to the law.
No problem in terms of any violence. The other point that we keep also saying, also to the people who think that they can probably come out making statements to intimidate and do all that. I want to tell them that life will become very uncomfortable for them. So they shouldn't even try. Because at the end of the day, when you do anything and de-escalation fails, you do anything and engagement fails, when we come and will come with the full force of the law in a manner that dignifies us as a people, please don't complain. And it is here that we want to seek your support as we do that in a way that the people will know that at the end of the day, if the police also get it right, they have people to speak for them.
Well, so that's IGP Dr. George Akufo-Addo earlier. And that second part you heard Michael talk about is with senior editors and managers of media houses in this country. And joining senior editor Evans Mensah is part of that meeting, joins me on the line. Evans, let us in. I know you can't tell us everything that's happening there, but essentially, what is the police seeking to do?
Well, the first part of this, when we came to the closed-door session, was about letting us in on the plan to protect media houses, but also journalists who will be working across the country. What was the police plan? He lays out a very comprehensive plan to ensure that we are all safe as we go about our work during elections. One of the first things he says, which is quite unique in terms of the way the police have dealt with the media during the election, is that every media organization in this country will have at least 2 dedicated plainclothes officers who will be stationed on your premises. Some of them you will identify, some of them you won't. But there will be one person who will be liaising with them, and they will be there to gather intelligence, but also liaise with the police headquarters in terms of advising when there's a need to deploy. And MFA, the enclave where we operate, it's a security zone when it comes to the elections. We don't call ourselves election headquarters for nothing. In the past, we have invested ourselves in providing security for our staff who work there. This time, the IGP saying that they are going to be deploying officers to all media houses, by the way, across the country. They're doing this, and it's a logistical challenge, but it is very obvious from what he said that they've been thinking about this, and they actually have already identified the officers for each media house. And at the end of this session, I'm just talking to you, and I'm going to go back in, and they will be, for example, disclosing to us which 2 officers will be deployed to us. I'm talking about the multimedia enclave during the election. But also,
immediately?
Yeah, this starts immediately in the lead up to the elections, during it, and after. But also, most importantly, we are deploying hundreds of correspondents across the country to every constituency. This protection is going to extend to all these journalists. And so we have to submit the names of all our correspondents and workers across the country to the police officers and to dedicated senior officers who will work to identify them and shelter them if there's trouble anywhere in the country. And in addition to that, the media houses will have dedicated patrol teams that will be regularly visiting the houses during the elections, just to ensure that if somebody wants to foment trouble, there is deterrence. And the regularity of the visit of the patrol teams will be informed by the intelligence as provided by the officers who will be given to the media houses. So this is very, very comprehensive and very unique in terms of the architecture that the IGP and his team will be deploying for the election.
And of course, the issues about allegations and counter-allegations, that's on the side. I'm sure that has come up as well. You've been asking that question. What has been the response so far?
It did, and that question was asked, and his point was clear, that they've monitored, they've heard some of the comments made by the political parties and the accusations. They will be engaging the parties. They'll be meeting them. I believe tomorrow there's a session, a private session, a closed-door session with the parties at a very senior level. Their approach this year is first to engage. not to go in, swoop, arrest, engage first, de-escalate is the emphasis. And where de-escalation fails has been very clear, and the police will have to crack the whip. But he makes the point that the media has a responsibility. That yes, these individuals who make these, inflammatory comments, they know that the media is watching and listening, that we're giving them the avenue to put this across. And that when we keep the gate, we will extinguish the flames that they believe will be fanning for them. They are saying it because they know that we're going to give them an outlet, right? And the IGP's point to the media, and he is right, is that we need to keep the gate as editors and as journalists. That when the guys mount the stage and they say you need to screen it, you need to keep that gate and censor it, because our democracy is at stake here. And that is his admonition to us, in addition to the fact that he himself is going to step in tomorrow and have that private closed-door session with the parties.
Well, that story we'll be touching on shortly, but I'm curious about the reaction of the senior managers and senior editors gathered for this particular meeting. All that we've been told about this dedicated media center, protection, amongst others. What has been their reaction? I'm sure you've been interacting with them.
Clearly, I have covered elections since 2000. This is the first time I'm hearing this sort of very personal. There's a very personal touch to this. So this is not one that so there is a general approach that we always see where you get police patrol. But this is the first time we've seen this very personal, dedicated, strategic intervention that is taking every media house as an entity and based on intelligence and assessment they've done already, deploying security for it. And then there's the general acceptance of that. Everybody is pretty much satisfied with the arrangement. And you begin to wonder the logistical challenge that the police will have to do. Because just imagine the sheer number of media houses we have across the country, and that every media house will have at least 2 dedicated officers on their premises, gathering intelligence and feeding it back. And if they need reinforcement, these individuals, these officers will then lead that. So the reaction has been very positive. And this is not going to be the only engagement. The IGP has showed that we'll have another one before the elections itself and after. This is in addition to the National Election Center that will be set up for regular updates.
Thank you very much, Evans, and see you soon. That's Evans Mensah. He's the senior Joy News editor and, of course, the head of our political desk, giving us updates from that meeting and the news that the police has given to all the media houses gathered there. I think it's a good time to enter the election headquarters.
Election Headquarters is brought to you by Petrosol Platinum Energy, energizing dreams, Chopbox Technology, a convenient service, German Ozone Medical Center, alternative therapy, dental, wellness and beauty, the Chartered Institute of Management Accountants (CIMA) and the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants (AICPA), together as the Association of International Certified Professional Accountants. Youth Break Foundation, bridging the gaps for positive youth development. Syntex Tanks, Air Strong, Air Tough, Potential Real Estate, your trusted partner in real estate. Deluxe Paint, Paints Mu Champion.
And tonight, the governing New Patriotic Party is dismissing allegations that it is plotting with elements in the military to rig the 2024 election. The NDC's National Communications Officer at a news conference yesterday said it is petitioning the Inspector General of Police over their fears there may be a ploy to steal the people's mandate this election. But reacting to these allegations at a counter press conference today, the national organizer of the party, Henry Nanabuachi, described the claims as false.
He alleged a supposed scheme involving ballot stuffing, swapping of ballot boxes and pig sheet, and other clandestine activities to tilt the balance of victory in favor of the MPP ahead of December 7th elections. These allegations, he claimed, are targeted at the Ashanti region, beginning from the special voting exercise scheduled for December 2nd. Permit me to say this, that the statement is the allegations made by the National Communication Officer and the NDC are entirely baseless, devoid of any iota of credible evidence, and represent yet another desperate attempt by the NDC to raise tension and distract the people of Ghana from their own misdeeds. You level against a reputable army officer baseless allegations You do not provide any, not even a single evidence, and yet you want us to take you serious. I have said that nobody can rig these elections. Look, we will vote at the polling station. We will count at the polling station. Collation will be done. The new patriotic party shall emerge victorious. His Excellency the Vice President will be the next president. Nobody can foment any sort of trouble, whatever form, whatever shape. I dare, if you want, try. Nobody. We will vote in peace. We will cast our ballot in peace. Ghana will be united. Ghana will not fall. And I'm telling you, the new patriotic party shall emerge victorious. Yes, tomorrow, for instance, I know that we have a meeting with the IGP. Myself, I'll be present. We'll be about 3 eminent persons from the party representing, and then we'll be putting this before the IGP.
Well, that's the national organizer of the NPP, Henry Nanabuachi, and yesterday, Sami Jemfi also had his turn on this. And as the claims and counter-claims ensues, you notice that we avoided mentioning names and repeating the allegations that were made by both parties. Well, the Electoral Commission is confident the results of the December 7 polls cannot be tampered with under any circumstance. The Deputy Chairperson, Dr. Bosman Asare, challenges that even if the Commission's leadership were replaced with heads of political parties, the system structure would prevent any alterations to the result. He spoke to Evans Mensah on PM Express.
If you are a member of the EC board, there is nothing you can do. Even those of us who are in charge of day-to-day running, led by the chairperson, Mrs. Jean Mensah, Mr. Samuel Tete, myself, our directors, even when it comes to elections, there is nothing we can do. You have been following this process for many, many years. You look at the process. If even you are a flag bearer of one of the main parties, let's make you the chairperson of the EC or one of the commission. There is nothing you can do. Because the election takes place at the polling station. And at the polling station, all the parties have their agents there, including observers and the citizens. When we finish, counting is done in the full glare of the public. At times, some of the media organizations, you select some polling stations where, and when we finish, the pink sheet will be filled and the copy will be pasted at that particular polling station. And all the results from all these polling stations are what we use to declare the winner of the parliamentary election in each parliamentary constituency. We put the national results together, then we use that to declare the presidential. So if even you are, let's put the MPP flag bearer, the NDC flag bearer, let's make them the chairperson, co-chairpersons of the Electoral Commission. There is nothing you can do.
Well, so that's the Deputy Commissioner of the Electoral Commission, Bosman Asare. They're interacting with my colleague Evans Mensah. Of course, the full interview is available. And that was last night's PM Express, available on all our social media platforms. Well, we stay a while longer on elections, and we know that there's a second Codeo pre-election observation statement or report that was issued. And tonight, the governing New Patriotic Party is fighting off claims of massive vote buying and abuse of incumbency as captured in that particular report. We know that the Codeo mentioned that both the NDC and NPP are cited in instances of vote buying, with people being given money or valuables to influence their vote. Also, the report said the NPP, NDC, and some independent candidates provided treats such as food and drinks to event attendees during campaign activities. Well, this issue was highlighted on Joy News X Spaces with Blessed Sugan last night. Another edition is coming your way tonight, and you can't miss it. It's right here on our X Spaces or X, and Blessed Sugan will be hosting another team on this. Yesterday, we heard from the organizer of the NPP, Isaac J. Hyde, and of course, Elikem Kotoko, Deputy National Organizer of the NDC, both fighting off the claims in the Codeo report. But tonight, also, the National Commission for Civic Education, they are also warning of the dangers of the increasing monetization and vote buying ahead of the 2020 polls. We can hear from the chairperson of the NCCA.
We've talked about money in politics. The thrust of our argument is that everybody should pause and ask themselves a couple of questions. Where is the money coming from? The fact that somebody is sharing money, the first reaction should not be gleefully going to get your share. we should ask ourselves as citizens that where is the money from? There is no free money anywhere. Wherever the money is coming from is going to go back with interest. And ultimately, we the citizens will pay the bitter price in the form of truncated development. Because if we elect people who have gone and acquired debt to come and share the money for us so that they win the election, once they win, their focus will not be on the mandate, their focus will not be on doing what they are supposed to do for the people, their focus will be on going out there to find a way to recoup the money, go and pay back wherever they got it from, and then going to get more money for the next round.
That's Kathleen Addy there, she's the commissioner of the NCCE. Well, still on the campaign trail, a presidential candidate of the New Patriotic Party, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, has ended his 15-day campaign tour of the Ashanti region, where he interacted with thousands of supporters, traditional leaders and other interest groups. Well, the tour, which began on November 4, saw Dr. Bawumia visiting over 40 constituencies in the region. My colleague Nana Boachi Dankwa-Yadom Abebio has a wrap from the Vice President's campaign.
It's been 15 days of intense campaign in the Ashanti region. That has been the routine of the NPP's presidential candidate, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, crisscrossing various constituencies in the Ashanti region. But then, the Vice President's campaign in the Ashanti region finally comes to an end in the Ahafo-Ano Southeast constituency. He has toured all the 47 constituencies in the Ashanti region, sharing what he describes as the bold solutions for Ghana's future.
One of the key things I made as president, as the legacy of the railway system, yet the rail no every Accra Tema to Kumasi all the way to Paga. That is the central line, from Accra to Paga. Yet from Kumasi to Takoradi. Then we are taking it from Ejisu to Eduadeng. And then we are taking it from Awaso through Nyinahene to Eduadeng. Sa rail noa yedi bano edi ejuma bebre ebebre yememuno. In every sector of the economy, yaya asino. We have created more jobs. We have built more roads. We have built more railways. We have built more interchanges. We have built more hospitals. We have built more schools. We have built more sports facilities. We have built more libraries. We have built more airports. We have built more sanitation facilities. We have built more courts. We have done more Zongo development. We have done gold for oil. We have done digitalization. Every sector of the economy, agriculture, industry, services, we have done more than you.
As the countdown continues, the Vice President and presidential candidate for the New Patriotic Party, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, continues to demand for a debate between himself and the NDC's presidential candidate, John Mahama.
And that's Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia there, wrapping up his campaign tour, 15-day tour of the Ashanti region. We're told he's heading to the northern region now. Meanwhile, the NDC presidential candidate, John Dramani Mahama, has also retweeted his comments, suggesting that the seat of government, the Jubilee House, is a hub for the creation of fake news after Chief of Akroso expressed concerns that his words had been misinterpreted to suggest that he had endorsed a different flag bearer who had visited him. During John Mahama's tour of the eastern region, the Chief of Akroso, Nana Kwabnofori II, during his speech, cautioned journalists about misrepresenting him. Maxwell Agbagba has more in this report.
The NDC presidential candidate continued his campaign tour with visits to 7 constituencies on the second day, delivering key messages to the electorate. Among his promises were plans to implement a 24-hour economy, improve the free SHS policy and develop better roads and many others. At a mini debate held at Akroso, the chief Nana Kwabnofori took a moment to address concerns about media representation. The other day there was a delegation here. Journalists, I beg you, report exactly what I say. They claimed I said that if one of the flag bearers does not become president, the country will collapse. I've never said that, and I will never say such a thing. They did the same thing to Osiudin Kitia. So I beg you, just report what I say so that I can face the consequences squarely if necessary.
You are
hated if you speak the truth, but I will speak the truth and be hated. The cedi was stable in the past, but now it's 16 cedis to $1. And you say we shouldn't talk about it? Which one was better? The economy is bad and we need someone who can fix it so we can be better off. We are all suffering. We pray that he will win and come to help us. In his address, John Mahama came to the defense of the media, attributing the spread of fake news to the Jubilee House. He criticized the current administration, describing the presidency as a hub for misinformation.
Nana Kasano, Okase Kasa Okano, and Central for Enshedon, Omonkani Ye, Namon Kodani Nano. Nana again Central for no, a Jubilee House for Flagstaff House.
He said, Nana was cautioning the journalist. Nana, it's not a journalist. It is the Jubilee House, the Flagstaff House. It is called fake news. That is the hub. What you have not said, they will claim you said. If the seat of government becomes a fake news hub, it is not good. So Nana, you are not the only victim. They have done it to me and many others.
Nana, I know the Omodia Yemi, Omodia Yo, Omodia Nipa Bebre, and Mijnaha Mecca say fake news thing na yet who on social media so a
That's John Dramani Mahama ending Maxwell Agbagba's report. We know also that the independent presidential candidate Nana Kwame Bediako is in the central region, is touring the area. His voices frustration over the entrenched poverty in Ghana.
If I am in my 60s and I tell you that I'm going to build your roads for you, I'm going to build your universities for you, no, the energy is not there. If we don't take this country upon ourselves and we don't take power and we don't use our voice to control the governance, then we will be slaves for people. So that's what the new force is about. Sometimes the means is your voice. Sometimes the means is your power. Don't say every day no could red and number you can't say polling centers. One amami t-shirt and one amami ska on na metu amano. Debbie, are you one year ready to build your country, build your nation? It takes millions of us to decide who should lead us, because we make the government. The government does not make us. It takes us to form the government.
And that's Nana Kwame Bediako Cheda taking us out of the election headquarters. And it's time to bring in George Riafe for the latest from the world of business. When we return, we'll take you to the Flowerport Interchange. Have you used it?
Not yet.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll be talking about how hawkers should be dealt with. We know the traffic situation has been resolved, but there's an issue about the hawkers, and opinions are divided over that. We'll take a look at it.
You saw the pictures this morning. You know, it's a problem. Not that place alone, even the Accra Mall area as well. You know, and how
these
should
are
we
matters we need to talk
deal
about
with this then?
People say we have to have the human face, but really, do we want to develop?
Know,
also, is also the issue. But let's do business.
Okay, well, coming up in business, President Akufo-Addo optimistic of inflation rates slowing down further in coming months, as it highlights that the Bank of Ghana has played some critical role in ensuring that this will happen. I also share with you issues that will dominate the Monetary Policy Committee meeting set to begin next Tuesday. The business news on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business. Kingdom Books and Stationers, Interstangs, and Pepsodent Herbal and Charcoal. You welcome back to Business on Newsnight. Now, President Akufo-Addo is optimistic that inflation will be slowing down in the coming months to appreciable levels. The president noted that this is due to some prudent measures being implemented by the Bank of Ghana. The president said this when he formally opened the new Bank of Ghana headquarters at Ridge here in Accra.
There's every indication the downward trend in the rate of inflation will continue, evidenced in the reducing prices of foodstuffs and petroleum products. This stabilization has renewed confidence among households and businesses, reinforcing a sense of optimism for the future. On the external front, Ghana's trade surplus now stands at an impressive $2.7 billion United States dollars. Our international reserves at $7.5 billion United States dollars provide critical buffers against external shocks.
The governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Ernest Addison, on his part also justified the construction of this new headquarters for the Bank of Ghana.
Where Bank of Ghana has multiple offices in the city of Accra, and with a strategic plan to harmonize all these operational units at the headquarters under one roof. This new head office provides us with the opportunity to better streamline our operations, improve communication, reduce costs, and create the needed synergies for efficiency.
Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Ernest Addison. Now, should additional measures be introduced to help stabilize the Ghana cedi? What about pressing ahead with existing monetary measures to help slow inflation rate? Now, these are some of the issues that will dominate the Monetary Policy Committee meeting that will start next Tuesday. There is more in this report.
For some, the work of the Monetary Policy Committee is cut out for them in terms of what is needed to be done to reduce the cost of credit and slow inflation rate. That is why these are some of the issues that will dominate the 3-day gathering. The policy rate currently stands at 27%. However, there are strong indications that the Bank of Ghana may be forced to hold its policy rate at current 27%. This is because they are now worried about the outlook of the economy, hence the need to tread cautiously over any regulatory action in trying to control inflation, as well as stabilizing the Ghana cedi. The committee will also be looking at the current state of the banking sector and whether any regulatory action is needed. We'll also get some updates on the development in the fiscal sector as well.
And that is the Business Desk report. Now, based on the original schedule, the meeting should have started today and end on Friday, but Joy Business understands that it will commence next Tuesday. Now, economist Professor Patrick Asumi is worried that the current issues surrounding Development Bank Ghana could affect the institution. It follows report that the World Bank and its partner will soon commence an independent audit into its operations following allegations of misuse of donor funds. Professor Sumi says that even though the World Bank wants to set the record straight, it could hit or come up with some confidence issues.
Depending on what they find, this could be serious trouble. Many of us have always been suspicious of government-owned development financial institutions like this. Not that their intentions are not noble, but the kind of country we run these days, it's very difficult to see such a public institution free of political meddling. And, however qualified and experienced the people who are appointed to head such institutions are, this country has almost become impossible to govern anything without political influence. So I think that many of us were very skeptical from the outset, given our previous history. But at least we were willing to give this a chance.
Now, Development Bank Ghana on its part has maintained that its performance operations to the best international standards, whilst rejecting the allegations by Imani Ghana Vice President Bright Simmons. Now, AfricaNet report on the state of inclusive instant payment systems in Africa shows that instant payment systems in Africa has gone up by some 43% for last year. According to the Deputy Chief Executive of AfricaNet, Saban Mensah, she says that this can be attributed to the growing digitization in African countries. She spoke at the launch of the report in Accra today.
We're looking at 49 billion transactions processed in 2023 by instant payment systems in Africa. 49 billion. Last year, we were at 32 billion. So that's a growth of 47%, just 1 year. And if you look at the last 5 years, you're looking at an average growth of 37%. That's amazing. Africa is leading on instant payment systems as a continent, and definitely the traction in digitization is really showing by looking at the transaction growth that we're seeing.
Deputy Chief Executive of AfricaNet, that is Saban Mensah. Let's turn our attention to the stock market. And if you are indeed a shareholder in Enterprise Group, it was actually down by a peso and is now worth 1 Ghana cedi, 98 pesos. And that's all for Business on Newsnight. And it's time for sports.
Let's go straight into the stories. And Ghana forward Abdul Fattah Issahaku is said to be sidelined for the rest of the 2023-24 season after undergoing surgery for for a knee injury he suffered playing for Ghana against Angola. Fatau was withdrawn at halftime in Ghana's penultimate AFCON qualifier against Angola after feeling some discomfort in his knee. The Ghana Football Association confirmed the Leicester City man had significant issues with his knee after an MRI scan and was not involved in Ghana's second game against Niger. The 20-year-old posted on his Instagram account to announce a successful surgery. Moving on, former Ghana international Layi Kingston believes the time is not right to relieve Black Stars head coach Akufo-Addo of his duties. Despite the team's fortunes hitting an all-time low, Layi Kingston argues that Akufo-Addo should be retained to oversee the remaining 2026 World Cup qualifiers.
For me, at the moment, we shouldn't change anything at the moment. Otto is even disappointed in himself, and I believe by now he's trying to ask himself questions about what really happened and what I can do to improve it, what I can do to make sure I bring results to the team. For me, if we go now and change the coach or the technical team and bring new faces, it will be a disaster. I think we should allow him to at least finish the World Cup qualifiers, and then after that we make decision as a country.
You heard former Ghana international Layi Kingston speaking, bringing an end to sports. You don't seem to agree.
Yeah, well, thank you very much, Danny Kranting. It's time for Climate Focus, and we are going to Tamale, where residents are raising the alarm over the looming destruction of the city's central forest, a natural shield against worsening weather extremes. They warn that selling off the forest to real estate developers could spell disaster for the region's climate resilience and future sustainability. Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin reports.
Welcome to Tamale's urban forest, a hidden gem in the heart of the city.
3 forest reserve in the Tamale township.
However, increasing demand for land have led to encroachment threats. According to the Northern Region Manager of the Forest Services Division, Kwesi Fripong, this encroachment poses a challenge.
Because the forest is in the middle of town, the land available for building has become a bit limited, and so everybody is trying as much as possible to find a way to encroach. And so that has been a major challenge. We always, every now and then, have to be driving people away from there.
If the traditional leaders, they don't sell this forest out for people to build houses and it's been preserved, it will give us more shades and also protect the indigenes around their community and the country as a whole.
That's why some residents are calling for a collective effort to monitor and report any trace. The Vice President of the Northern Regional Youth Network, Abukari Mohammed, is among residents who acknowledge the crucial role the forest plays in combating climate change.
Chiefs, stakeholders, students should come together to formulate a policy to be able to protect this forest. We have instances whereby it is being sold to individuals and public people or private people. So a law has to be as a custodian law within the Tamale to be able to complement the national law, so that whoever buys this particular plot of land are not going to be allowed to construct anything under this particular place.
By preserving these forests, the people of Tamale can contribute to creating a healthier environment for everyone, ultimately playing a vital role in mitigating the global climate crisis. Reports by Mohammed Nuruddin.
Climate Focus is brought to you by Joy News in partnership with Youth Bridge Foundation, bridging gaps for positive youth development, and the Climate Development Knowledge Network.
Well, that's our Climate Focus. It's time to hit the roads. Well, we'll get to the flower pot, the newly inaugurated or commissioned flower pot interchange shortly. But let me go ahead and hit the Tema Aflao Road. I'll make a stop at Dawenya. You know, yesterday there was a promise to dispatch mobile maintenance teams to fix the Tema Dawenya Road after the complaints that we got from motorists who use or apply that route and the concerns they raise about sitting in traffic for hours on end. My colleague Carlos Caloni spent the whole day on the ground waiting for this mobile maintenance team. Carlos, did they show up?
Not at all, MFR. So since morning, we've been, like you said, driving on the stretch all the way to the Pram Junction through to the Tama motorway roundabout to see if we'll catch any glimpse of any activity on the road. We've not seen any of such maintenance team on the road. We spoke to the PRO of the Ghana Road Authority, who told us short that they were going to be here during the day, but we've waited the entire day and we've not seen them. And according to the drivers who also heard the interview on Joy News, they said they were hoping to actually welcome these people and help them actually to put the road into shape so that they can enjoy it. But they've been left disappointed.
But you've been there all day. What's the traffic situation as we speak?
If I can tell you, the traffic is as intense as it is every day. Right now, I'm in front of the foam barrier area. The vehicles heading to Owenya are stuck. There's no movement at all. And those heading to the Tama area, they appear to be moving a bit. And the traffic, I understand, stretches all the way from the foam barrier all the way to the Tama motorway roundabout. So that is the situation. The traffic has not improved at all.
Sorry, that's Carlos Caloni there giving us what the situation is as we speak. And that mobile dispatch maintenance team did not show up today as promised last night by the National Roads Authority. Well, Collins Frimpong has been exploring the impact of the congestion on the motoring public. Here's his report.
The Pondowenya stretch of the Tama-Aflao Highway serves as a critical transit route for neighboring countries like Togo and Burkina Faso. It is also a regular stretch for the motoring public from sprawling communities such as Ningo Pram and Pong. But the nature of the route has made it a lingering nightmare for its users. Residents, however, breathed a sigh of relief when on October 25, 2020, President Akufo-Addo cut short for the commencement of the upgrade of the dual carriageway to meet international standards. The daily stress of being stuck in traffic has left many feeling overwhelmed and anxious anytime they approach the road.
The traffic is affecting us very, very, very bad. It is very bad. If you can see from Barrier to Central University, it's about almost 10 to 12 kilometers. And somebody will be in the traffic for long, even 5 hours being in traffic. It's very bad.
The traffic is not easy from Central University. But the traffic Musa Kopum barrier. Before you reach Accra, maybe your diesel will finish.
This morning, like this, we wake up very early because of the traffic. Wake up around 3:30 that way.
The prolonged congestion on the road is not only a nuisance but a financial burden for many. Business operators claim they are losing customers as the hours spent stuck in the gridlock disrupts schedules and undermine productivity.
With the drivers, the more you go, the more you gain. But meanwhile, this you pick one road to Central University.
Reporting for Joy News, Collins Frimpong.
And that's Colin Frimpong's report read to you. Some way, somehow, let's beat the traffic and head back to the newly commissioned Flower Port Interchange, which, according to reports, has undoubtedly improved the traffic situation on the Spintex stretch. Well, but the bigger problem now is handling hawkers and the traders who have, for the longest period, plied the trade along that stretch. Well, 24 hours after the commissioning, a trader was seen selling coconut in the median. One other also seen selling fruit. And this has generated a lot of talk. The Greater Accra Regional Minister, Titus Glover, issued a warning yesterday and also stormed the scene today, instructing police officers on the site to apprehend any hawker who defies his order. Well, his actions and that of hawkers have divided opinions. Kenneth Jesse has more.
A picture of a young woman selling coconut under the newly commissioned Flower Port Interchange threw the Regional Minister Titus Glover into a fit of rage. The image did not sit well with him. Could the woman have decided to set up her stall because of this promise by the Lojikuku Municipal Chief Executive, Mordecai Akwashi?
They should relax. We will get around to creating adequate spaces for them to sell right here.
The regional minister says, not here.
Kiosks
And the chief executive should listen to me. We don't want to see kiosk containers littered all over there. It will destroy the beauty of this edifice that we all witness and commission today.
Titus Glover spoke to Joy News right after his one-man demolition exercise.
My mission here, I'm on my way to Dodowa for a program. And her calls and pictorial evidence of a woman selling the coconut. So quickly I have to rush there to make sure. I went and broke down the table and packed all the nkatier and the banana into the basket and take it away. It's not nice. So it's a follow-up. I've talked to the chief executive for the Lejikuku Assembly that they should put their eyes here. They should position 2 security guys here, the west end and the east end, to make sure that we ward off anybody who want to turn this area into a trading hub or something.
Some food vendors close to the scene have vowed to resist any attempts to forcefully evict them from the area without being provided with a permanent place to sell.
We were there, the other side, opposite Palace Malls. So we were told to move under the bridge. So when they are done over there, we'll go back to the place. So when we came to the bridge under, we realized that they are not planting flowers to occupy that place. So they said that place is no more good for us to sell. And here too, we don't have a place also. We'll be adamant, we'll still be stubborn, because if I move here, I don't have anything doing. I can't stay home empty stomach without eating. They will sack me and I'll still come back since I don't have nothing to do.
While some have applauded the minister's actions, others believe the hawkers should be permitted to sell there, or at least be demarcated a place for that purpose. What do you think? Kenneth Josie for Joy News.
And that's how we end tonight's edition of Newsnight here on Joy 99.7 FM. Of course, there's more when you log on to myjoyonline.com, and the strong and sassy Enimwa Inimado is up next. What are we talking about? This one, dear.
So tonight we're talking about the look of a Christian woman. So it's interesting because I've come across some women who say they are Christians and they don't look like Christians.
Why do you say that?
Because you hear the things people say. I didn't think she was a Christian. I didn't. Then why? Because, her hair is this, her legs is this, her this is that.
That day at Heaven's Gate.
So we thought, today's show is actually because we actually want to get an idea of how people judge people.
Why is it about the looks?
And then maybe we may have another show to actually, talk about maybe what is wrong.
I think that's why I need part 1, part 2, part 3.
It's like part 5.
I'll tell my story.
If only when I finish, they don't sack me from my church. Well, that's what we're talking about.
You see? Anyway, we'll talk.
But you have a story?
Yes.
So you'll join us one of these days.
I will.
We would love to have you. Yeah. So that's what we're talking about tonight.
We can't wait for Strong and Sassy. The look of a Christian woman. Asemo. Anyway, I'll leave you in the hands of Enimwa.